Welcome to a member of what has been called the fifth generation in China, Joan Chen. Let's explain what fifth generation is all about.
Oh, well, it's just since the beginning of the film until now, it's more or less like the fifth generation. You know, the first generation would be the turn of the century, and now we are the fifth generation.
And between the first and the fifth, what changes do you suppose we could nail down as being very pertinent now?
I think the generations before 1949 would be more like Hollywood style. They imitated all the Hollywood styles. Then after 1949, it's more Russian. You know, we had more Russian movies to be seen, and also there are good Russian movies sometimes. No, quite often actually. Then it was more Russian style of acting, Russian style of anything. And then during the Cultural Revolution, there was a very bad generation that really had very little to do because they were not allowed to really do much. So it was kind of wasted. And now in the 80s, there's this new generation who are making movies that's different from all the others. It's making more realistic films.
Yeah, let's talk about content in that sense.
Yeah, more realistic in contents and more artistically more open to experiment, you know, different kinds of things. I think the hope is on them. I hope I'm included.
You grew up in China, you've worked in the Chinese film industry, therefore you're in a great position to tell us then what's on the minds of Chinese filmmakers and audiences now. What are they most hungry to see from their own industry?
From their own industry.
Not from our films, but...
I think it's more human feelings. They want more real people still. You know, the heroes are too much of a hero still, and it's getting better. It's getting more human. Every step they make now, but people wanted more human aspect in the film. You know,
do they want the idealized types that you have represented?
I think they want it because it's still a hero when you have some mistakes. Now they see the beauty in having some shortcoming on a person as a hero. It's more charming and everything, and they wanted that. So it's people are demanding more that kind of film, and also people wanted to see different topics rather than very educational, meaningful. You know, everything was supposed to be meaningful all the time. You know, if you are not educating and giving people some lessons, it's kind of frivolous. But people are realizing now that in life, people do need some of those things, you know, as entertainment. And so these are more demanded also. And
yeah, and let's take one topic, which is the history of Imperial China. That was kind of erased for a while from Chinese education.
Yes, because all these were not supposed to be good people. I mean, they are, you know, there is no point there is nothing you can learn from them, you know, as if. But of course, there are always things you can learn. So they're not talked about. You know, maybe in history, a few historical figure we were taught. But not everybody, you know. And now people start to become more honest about our own history and to make more historical pictures. And it's difficult. It's very, I mean, they make better pictures of today's life than a picture, for instance, like Last Emperor, because all these decadence and all these luxury and then another way of living is totally forgotten. I mean, you know, a movie maker has to do just as much research as Bernardo has done on our culture. We have to do just as much on our own culture because it's forgotten. You know, we don't think about it anymore.
But this movie may bring to millions of Chinese viewers a part of their history that they've not known about. Is that stretching it? Is that?
No, for younger generation, there are many people who didn't know about him. Older people would know, yes, because he was quite recent, you know. So there will be many things to be learned from viewing this film in China.
Where are you now? You grew up in that industry, and here we are talking to you in New York City.
Where I am, I don't know. I travel, I'm everywhere, and I'm happy to be that way. I go back to China every year for quite a long time.
That's a commute.
And I mean, yes, 12 hours, 14 hours of flying, and the same amount of hours of time difference, and but it's great. it's really great because I felt that I could enjoy the both culture that way, and also I can't give up any of them. You know, in China I miss United States, and in here I miss China very, very much. And I hope that the world is getting closer together, and there will be a less gap. And sometimes I feel I'm falling in this gap and falling deeper and deeper sometimes because there is a gap. But this film has become a bridge somehow, and I'm standing on the bridge, and it's a happy feeling.
The Chinese viewers must then see you as a very interesting character because you bridge both worlds.
Yes, they've been talking about me since I left. You know, every move that I made, they try to somehow from hearsay or whatever and bring it on to the magazines and newspapers, and become a very controversial person because they don't want their image to be a corrupted person, and yet they're happy they're making some progress, so there are mixed feelings in the audience. And I think what I don't want to do is to hurt people by totally change into something they don't like. I think they will accept me this time in this film as a more mature actress, you know, rather than a lovely little girl that they once loved. I think it's better for me too, that way.
Let's completely switch topics for the moment because there are so many people out there looking at this sumptuous feast called The Last Emperor, who are wondering what was it like wearing the silks, the colors, the rituals. It seems so far away from us, and it's such a rich kind of thing. You must have had one heck of a wardrobe, for example.
Oh yes, yes. You feel like an empress when you're in it. You know, in the first day, I was said, wow, you know, I have to know how to walk like an empress. No need to. When you're put into everything like that, you walk like an empress.
Fascinating.
Yes, and I learned so much about little details. You know, what jewels they wear, and the clothing and the shoes. And which I never paid attention to. You know, they were there in the museums, but you know.
I was going to say, did somebody design these? Were some of these authentic? What?
Most of them are copies of authentic things, which is very authentic. It's amazing how can a British person design all these things, which is so just accurate, you know. And we have moved different things, pieces of embroidery onto different clothes, and just much work in it. And I loved very much all my costumes. And every time I appeared, there would be a different look.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Now, Joan, be honest with us. When you left that set, did you leave behind all of those clothes? Or did
Yes, I did. Most people wouldn't, but I did. I felt...
There was no trunk that made its way outside of the city late at night?
No. I felt if I wanted to keep everything. I wanted something complete, and I don't want to take one piece out of this whole thing. I think it's like a person's belonging. You know, I felt, you know, it's a character. It's a true historical character. It's like her clothing. You know, I mean, it's a whole collection. I don't want to like take one out of it. You know. But
let me guess. I'll bet you'd like to take Bernardo Bertolucci with you wherever you go.
Not wherever I go. There are some places that I go probably I wouldn't want him to be with me.
Well, you know what I mean. Yeah.
Yes, but I did enjoy so much working with him. I would love to work him again, you know, in any other movies. It's just a very delightful experience. He's so good with performers.
I've never met an empress before, even if she's the last one. Joan Chen, we're in New York City, and I'm John Tibbetts for KCTV5.